Welcome to WILDLIFEx. In this video we are going to talk about the top 10 unexplained sea animals. So before starting this video, like this video, and subscribe to WILDLIFEx for future updates. 1 fish, 2 fish, dead fish, new fish. That's right, kids, it's time to tally up the year's most amazing marine life discoveries. Kick off your shoes and slip into your wetsuit, as we reminisce about the buck-toothed sharks, interstellar jellyfish, boat-eating worms, luminous slime bags, and deep-sea superpredators that held this year brimming with underwater adventure. Buck-toothed ghost shark. The ghost shark species, Hydrologus erythicus, was the 50th to be discovered, and the third to belong to the genus Hydrologus, which means water rabbit. Although H. erythicus looks more like a shark than a rabbit, researchers have discovered that ghost sharks are not sharks at all. They are big cartilaginous fish that are similar to sharks and rays. Ghost sharks, also known as chimeras or ratfish, propel themselves using their huge pectoral fins rather than their tails, unlike true sharks. Cannibal corpse worm with monster jaws. In February, the fossilized jaws of a giant marine worm, or polychaete, known as a bobbat worm, were discovered near Moosonee, Ontario, Canada, on Hudson Bay. The world's oldest worm, the granddaddy of all marine worms, lived 400 million years ago. It was probably more than 3 feet long, based on its huge jaws. Researchers named the worm Websteroprion armstrongi in honor of Cannibal corpse bassist Alex Webster, who is known as a giant bass player. Bobbat worms belong to the Unicidae polychaete tribe. Other giant unicids can still be found today in ocean beds all over the world, where they bury the majority of their bodies in the sand, before launching surprise attacks on unsuspecting prey. Modern unicids can reach lengths of up to 10 feet, 3 meters, but W. Armstrong's worms were usually much smaller. The new species shows a rare case of polychaete gigantism in the Paleozoic period, says study leader Mats Eriksson of Lund University in Sweden. Cosmic jellyfish in the ocean's deepest reaches. This jellyfish is a long way out and a long way under. The ethereal invertebrate, which was discovered near a previously unexplored seamount approximately 9,800 feet, 3,000 meters, below sea level in a remote area of the Pacific Ocean near American Samoa, resembles a UFO and may be a brand new jellyfish species. The saucer-shaped drifter was only seen by a remotely controlled, underwater vehicle during a deep dive expedition by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, so it's difficult to say, NOAA. Putting the creature under a microscope and running genetic tests on it might expose its roots, and possibly a lot more, according to the researchers. We will begin to get a better image of life in the midwater, maybe the largest ecosystem on the Earth, as more observations, like this one, are collected, said Michael Ford, a conservation biologist with NOAA's Northwest Fisheries Science Center. Giant, slimy shipworm with a tough, tubular shell. Shipworms, slimy mollusks that consume wood, have been causing problems for sailors since at least 412 BC, when ancient records show concerns about the tiny wood-eating rodents infesting and destroying whole ships. However, giant shipworms known as Cuphis polythalamia remained a mystery for hundreds of years until April. Researchers eventually studied the enigmatic creature, after collecting 5 giant shipworms of the genus from a shallow bay in the Philippines. Polythalamia, unlike small wood-infesting shipworms, can grow to be 3 to 5 feet, 1 to 1.5 meters, long, live face down in marine mud, and cover itself in rough, tubular shells that resemble elephant tusks. The discovery, according to study co-author Margot Haygood, a research professor of medicinal chemistry at the University of Utah College of Pharmacy, is akin to finding a unicorn for marine biologists. Number 6. World's deepest living predator, it's terrifying. Scientists on board a research ship were trawling for fish near eastern Australia, when they came across this, a fang-faced creature with the body of an eel, the face of a lizard, and the imposing reputation of being the world's deepest living predator. The so-called lizard fish, Bathysaurus ferox, literally, fierce deep-sea lizard, buries itself on the deep seafloor, 3,300 to 8,200 feet, 1,000 to 2,500 meters, below the water's surface. When an unaware prey swims by, B. ferox darts out of the sand, and snatches it up in its powerful jaws. In a blog post, Asher Flatt, the vessel's onboard communicator, wrote, "Once it has you in its jaws, there is no escape, the further you fight, the farther into its mouth you go." It's also a hermaphrodite, meaning it has both ovarian and testicular tissues in its reproductive organs. This ensures that any B. ferox will mate with any other B. ferox it encounters, giving the species a competitive advantage in the deep ocean's sparse population. Car size, Loch Ness monster. When you think of the Loch Ness monster, you probably think of a plesiosaur, which is a long-necked aquatic dinosaur with 4 flippers, and a large crocodile-like body, kilt and flannel cap optional. Researchers presented their findings of a 76-million-year-old plesiosaur skeleton recovered from Alberta, Canada, earlier this year on August 23. The river-dwelling reptile would have been about the size of a vehicle when it was alive, the University of Calgary researchers said, measuring between 13 and 16 feet, 4 and 5 meters, long. The plesiosaur in question was likely not yet fully grown when it died, and could have grown several feet longer. Despite this, the specimen was a small fry in comparison to its ocean-dwelling plesiosaur cousins, who were thought to be up to 50 feet, 15 meters, long, bringing them closer to the length of current buses, according to the researchers. Mysterious, slinky-like sack of slime. In September, a sparkling, spinning, gelatinous glob photographed by scuba divers off the coast of Australia captivated the internet. Was it a sea creature in the slinky-like sack? Is that a huge worm? Or maybe a species that science has never seen before? The response was disclosed by Rebecca Helm, a jellyfish biologist at the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution in Massachusetts. The blob was actually a string of thousands of tiny eggs laid by a previously unknown squid species. Thysanoteuthis rhombus, also known as the diamond squid, is the species that has been written, Helm told Live Science. Squid egg identification is a very esoteric craft. Diamond squid can reach a length of 3 feet, weigh up to 66 pounds, 30 kilograms, and have a pinkish kite-like appearance with a cluster of tentacles. According to Helm, the creatures can lay between 24,100 and 43,800 eggs at a time, all of which are encased in a gelatinous tube that can grow up to 6 feet, 1.8 meters, long. The pinkish glow of the tube comes from the color of the eggs themselves, according to Helm, though it's unclear what causes the hue to be so vivid. Klepto predator, sea slug with a vicious way of feeding. Consider yourself a tiny coral polyp who has just finished a tasty meal of microscopic zooplankton. When gulp, a jerk sea slug gobbles you and your plankton feast whole, you sit back to digest. Rudeness. Cratina peregrina, a bottom-dwelling sea slug, was previously thought to consume polyps, but researchers discovered this year that the slug prefers to eat polyps that have just finished consuming dinner. Kleptopredation is the act of stealing a predator's meal by eating both the predator and its prey at the same time, and it was first observed in Nature this year, according to a report published November 1 in the journal Biology. The study discovered that kleptopredation provides enough plankton to account for about half of C. peregrina's diet, contradicting previous reports that polyps were the slug's primary food source. Not all monsters have monstrous appearances, others simply have monstrous demeanors. Rare, deep ocean shark with 300 frilled teeth. This November, some deep-sea fishermen were trawling near Portugal when they unintentionally caught a dinosaur. The mysterious catch was named by scientists aboard a nearby research vessel as Chlamydosalacus anguineus, also known as the frilled tooth shark, a species that has changed so little in the last 80 million years that researchers refer to it as a living fossil. What is the origin of the word frilled-toothed shark? If you dare, peer into its eerie maw to see its 303 pointed teeth, which mimic rows of razor-sharp, frightening frills. Fish, squid, and other sharks are among the prey taken down by the predators, which can grow to be more than 5 feet long and have impressive chompers. Despite the fact that the shark was trapped and died, it provided researchers with an interesting opportunity to study it. Frilled-tooth sharks are rarely seen since they can dive as deep as 4,600 feet, 1,400 meters, under the ocean's surface, which is much deeper than most fishing boats can go. 5,000-pound, bone-filled fish. The world's heaviest bony fish, weighing in at 5,070 pounds, was captured off the coast of Japan in 1996. 2,300 kilograms. For decades, scientists mistook the whopper for a genus of sunfish known as the mola mola. The major catch has now been properly identified, as Mora alexandrini, a species previously unknown to science, according to a paper published December 5 in the journal Ichthyological Research. What do you think about this video? Do let us know down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from us again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.